everyone. Benjamin Lindsay here, managing editor at Backstage. Happy Monday. Very glad that you could join us for this special Backstage Live interview. Backstage Live is, of course, part of our ongoing on-camera content called The Slate. This is an ongoing video series where you can watch from anywhere to learn all you need to know about the craft and business of acting from casting directors, industry insiders, and, of course, actors just like you. This is done through Instagram takeovers, Q&As, live-streamed interviews, or live-streamed seminars and interactive group classes. So for more on The Slate and to see what's coming up with this on-camera interview series, Backstage Live, and everything else The Slate has to offer, go to backstage.com/magazine. We are very lucky today to be joined by Corinne Foxx. She is celebrating her premiere weekend for Dad Stop Embarrassing Me on Netflix. I saw it was the number one trending as the number one series on Netflix this weekend, so she has a lot to celebrate. And she also is an actor herself in Disney Plus's Safety and 47 Meters Down Uncaged from a couple years back. Really excited to dig into it with her and pick her brain about acting and producing herself. So let me see if she has joined us. And Corinne, I see you here. Thanks for sitting with me through that intro. I'll pull you up right now.
Hi.
Hey there, Corinne. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, good. My name's Ben. We haven't met before, but
I know. Hi, Ben.
we're all meeting virtually these days, right?
I know. I'm so used to I'm too used to this. I'm like, how am I going to go back to normal life? I'm nervous.
Exactly. But thanks for making the time for us today, and congrats on your premiere weekend. Very big deal, big news.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. For anyone who doesn't know, I produced a show called Dad Stop Embarrassing Me. It was on Netflix. It is on Netflix. And yeah, it was the number one series for a few days and number one across the US. And so it was pretty surreal. And the show is based on my real life. So it's very personal to me and close to my own heart. And so it was a great weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you found a way to celebrate, even given the crazy times we're living in.
Yes, in my apartment. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, tell us a bit about how this first came about for you. I mean, you say that a lot of it is inspired from your own personal experience, being the daughter of Jamie Foxx. So how is it that the wheels started in motion in the first place?
Yeah, so my dad and I have worked together on other projects. We co-hosted a game show called Beat Shazam, and we did a lot of interviews together. We were always telling these embarrassing stories. You know, my dad is a very charismatic, over-the-top guy, and I'm more, reserved and responsible. And so we had all these moments of just funny tension throughout our life, and we were telling these stories in interviews, and we realized people really liked listening to them. They thought they were really funny, and we thought, why don't we take these stories and turn them into episodes of a TV show? And it kind of just grew from there. And we started writing out, a fictional family that's based on our real family. And we basically pitched my diary to Netflix, and they liked it. So it was crazy. It's my first time. I'm an executive producer on it. It's my first time EPing, which was a real big learning lesson for me.
Yeah. And I was surprised. I mean, going into it, I knew that you were also an actor in previous credits. You actually wrote a personal essay for us a couple years ago about
Yes, I did a while ago, yeah.
Really loved that one, but I was surprised that you're not popping up on camera yourself. So what was the decision to not be in front of the camera for this one?
Yeah, I know they still do this where they have like adults playing teenager. I mean, I'm 27.
Yeah.
The character Sasha is 15. So, I mean, I could do it, but why? So we found this amazing actress, Kyla Drew, who was actually 15 at the time and could bring, some of her own experience to the character and her own truth to being 15 now. And, I'm 12 years older than her. I know what it's like to be a teenager 12 years ago, but I don't know what the experience is like now. So I told Kyla when she got the role too, I'm like, you're not playing me exactly. You're playing a version of me. Bring your own experience to it. You've been embarrassed by your parents before, like use that. Because I didn't want her to feel like she was like mimicking me or, she was playing me. She's just playing, a teenage girl.
Yeah, and her performance is great. I feel like the rapport that she's developed with your dad in the series is just a lot of fun to watch. It's a great show. Um,
Yeah, yeah. And really what we were looking for in that character, because my dad, he brings the comedy. He's,
mhm,
that's what he's going to do. He's going to go over the top and everything. We really wanted somebody to balance him out, especially the daughter character, because that's really how our real life relationship is. I'm more grounded, and
mhm, mhm.
dad, you need to come home by 10 p.m. Like I'm that person. And so we wanted her to be that. And I feel like Kyla just really brought it. And she's just, we were so lucky to have her.
And it seems like Jamie's having such a great time too.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he's inhabiting a number of characters. I like seeing him put on all the costumes and whatnot. Was he always kind of attached as the star, or was that also a discussion with
You know
Netflix
what?
what it would look
Not
like?
originally. That's a great
Um,
question. No one's asked that. Not originally. We kind of just wrote it, and then as we started developing it more and more, especially like all these characters, like my dad is such a unique talent. It was gonna
mhm,
be hard to find anybody else that could do it better than him.
yeah.
And so he also did live in front of a studio audience. He played um, in the Jeffersons, and that was a
Mhm.
sitcom. And when he did that, he fell in love. He was like, this is where I came from. I love sitcoms. I want to do it again. And so he ended up doing it. But originally, when we were writing it, it wasn't him.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's such a welcome throwback to when we first got to know him on camera. Kind of
Exactly.
the sitcom format is great. Well, for those tuning in with us today, Backstage, of course, has a lot of the working actors out there, also creators of all kinds. So, for those who are unfamiliar, what does your day to day actually look like as EP? And what's something that you learned along the way that you're going to take with you to future projects?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I will say to anyone in this business, I mean, I feel like you never know what you're jumping into. Each project is so different, and I was jumping into a new role. Um, and so I was sitting in the writer's room basically every single day. Which an EP doesn't have to do, but I was so close to the material
Mhm.
that I just wanted to be a part of every single episode. I have writing credits on the episode. So a lot of it is sitting in a writer's room, just plotting out what we're going to do. And then, it's full circle. So you do, some days you're casting, some days you're picking out the set dressings, you're picking out the costume for your actors. I mean, there's like 1,000 decisions you have to make at all times. And then also a lot of EPing is just keeping the ship afloat,
Right.
because especially with COVID, we shot the first episode March 13th, 2020,
Hmm.
which is literally like 2 days before everything shut
Right.
down. So we shot our first
Wow.
episode, and then we were shut down for 6 months. So that was a whole journey too.
So it must have been, was it originally planned to be released last year and then obviously
Yeah.
kind of roll with the punches and see where it lands? But so,
Yeah.
yeah, but what were the added challenges of filming during COVID in that case?
Well, we shut down for, that first initial block. We didn't go back to filming until September, I think, or August.
Oh, yeah.
And so we were shut down for a while. So we were just writing and workshopping all the episodes. We still had writer's room all the time. But then we had to come up with the COVID protocols, because
Hmm.
we were one of the first shows that Netflix let back filming, because our set was already set up. We were already at the sound stage. And so we had to come up with like, how do you film with COVID?
Yeah.
And it was the rest of the producers really figured everything out. And we did such a good job at our COVID protocols that Netflix actually sent their film crew and like made a training video off how we did our
Oh,
production.
wow. Okay.
So I was very proud of that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, really, it is uncharted territory, especially at
Oh
that.
yeah.
So obviously we figured it out to a certain extent now. People are back in
Hmm.
production and whatnot. Um, to rewind a bit, I had mentioned that you wrote a personal essay for us a couple years ago, which I really loved. And you had said, to quote you here, my favorite line is, acting is a profession that nobody should want, yet thousands desperately pursue. Was it always in the cards for you to also kind of follow in your dad's footsteps into the industry? Or when is it that you really got hooked on the performing arts? What role did it play when you were?
Well, I feel like my whole life I was so performative. I always did dance, and I was in plays, and I loved to perform, but I felt like people always expected me to do that. And so I went to college. I was like, I'm not going to be in the entertainment industry. I'm not going to do any of this. And then I graduated college. I moved to New York, got a job in advertising. I was sitting at my desk and I was like, am I really going to let everyone else's expectations of me hold me back from following my dreams? So I moved back to LA. I got into acting class, studied and studied and studied. And I also wrote my own stuff. And so it wasn't until later, to answer your question, that I really decided to just go for it and not care what other people thought of me.
So in terms of like the actual training, I know that you didn't go to you went to USC, but it was for PR, is that right?
Yeah, it was for PR.
Right? So when did the actual training start? It wasn't until you were 20 or so? And
it wasn't until I moved into, well, I was taking some class while I was at USC. I did some summer stuff, like when I would have, breaks, but it wasn't really until I got back here when I was like 20. That's great. And then I got Beat Shazam, and then I got 47 meters, and then I feel like I've lucked out. Yeah.
What's next for you? What are you working on for in front of the camera stuff?
Oh, well, I really have fallen in love with writing and producing. And so I'm producing, I have a few different projects at different places, but they're all things that I've written in roles for myself. So they're really fun. And I'm excited for them when I can talk about them.
Yeah, no, that's great. You got the bug. You got this up on its legs at Netflix, and now more to come for sure. Well, as a final question for you then, again, considering our audience today, what's one piece of advice that you would give yourself when you were first getting your start? Something that you might have learned over the last few years and would have been helpful to know back then.
Oh, wow. Wow. There's so many things. I think this industry is so beautiful and magical, but it is so hard, and it can beat you down, and you can try and feel like you're not getting anywhere. So I think I would tell my past self to not allow other people to tell you if you can do your art. Because I feel like booking a job feels like the only way for you to do your art, and that's not true. There's so many different outlets for you to express yourself, and whether that's in class, whether that's writing, whether that's YouTube and putting your own stuff together. Like, this is the perfect example. Like, I just put the show together that I wanted to produce. Like, yes, I have incredible privilege and I'm aware of that, but I feel like I used to get really bummed if I didn't book a job or I didn't get an audition and something, like, oh man, I can't do my art. And like, yes, you can.
Yeah. And especially in this last year, I feel like that's gonna, sorry, are you frozen or something? We got it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah.
I just feel like this last year especially has kind of taught you that you can make your art anywhere, and it's a learning experience, to say the least. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Corinne, this was great to have your ear for a moment. Thanks for sharing your time with us, and congrats again on the new series.
Oh, thank you so much. It was so great to talk to you. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Bye.